Sorry about that. We've got audio. Okay, I'm kind of watching myself on my TV back here. All right, folks, we have confirmed specs of the Sony A7 IV, and I'm going to tell you exactly how we have these confirmed specs already. And it 100% confirmed, unless the end of the world comes or something like that in the next 3 days. October 21st, so Thursday, October 21st, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. So where I'm at, 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 a.m., there will be I'm about to show you. Here's how the specs are confirmed. So here's the thing. There is in Chrome browser, Chrome web browser, Chrome browser, there's a patch, or an extension that you can get called vidIQ. And here is the vidIQ. So basically, I have a link to this in the description box, and here's something that every single YouTuber should have. If you are a YouTuber in 2021, you should have this extension if you have Chrome, if you use Chrome browser. Basically, what this does, you download this browser, and it'll take you to YouTube, right? So here is the YouTube page for Sony camera channel. This is where all the announcements are at right here. All the Sony camera announcements are right here on this channel. And what it does, up in this corner, you have your statistics. And this is my CJ Abroad channel, which is, it's not doing well. It's just something I do for fun on the side. Scroll down. I got comments and things of that nature. Now the tags. So Sony put these tags in here, right? They put these tags in here into this channel so you can see exactly what it has. All right, so we know that this is the A7 IV because this would be the standard code for the A7 IV. ILCE, every other camera they've got, ILCE 7M3, A7 SM3, I think it's called, A7 Mark IV, Alpha 7, Alpha 7. It says it right here, Sony A7 IV. Sony A7 IV in a bunch of different ways. Sony Alpha, mirrorless, Sony E-mount camera, full frame camera, 4K, eye autofocus, animal eye AF, AF movies, field camera, pro camera, silent shutter, FTP, 4K 60p, IAF for birds. That's kind of crazy. Camera for movies, 10 frames per second. This is why I'm saying that I don't. One of the specs that I've seen on here, not on here, but before, was the CF Express Type A cards. And why I don't think they'll have CF Express Type A cards is because they're not going to need it for any of the video specs, because I don't think they're going to take anything away from the A7S Mark III or the FX3. And 10 frames per second isn't going to require it either. So the only reason I think they would have a CF Express card is because somebody who's using the A7S Mark III as their primary camera and wanting this A7 IV as their backup, be able to switch cards and only have maybe one set of cards. That makes sense to me. But at the same time, I don't think this camera needs it. But at the same time, if it's the dual card slot, you can still use UHS-2 cards. Probably still use UHS-1 cards too. 33 megapixels is confirmed. I've said in the past that the 33 megapixels makes sense to me after doing a little bit more research, because it takes 32 megapixels to get 8K video. And like I said, I don't think this camera will have 8K video, but Sony will use this sensor for probably 10 years until it's probably long overdue for a new sensor, like their current 24 megapixel sensor that they've been using for ever in their APS-C cameras. This camera, the ZV-E10, the sensor in this is probably 5 years outdated, 4 years outdated, and they're still putting it in cameras today, even though they do make a 26 megapixel sensor that is in the Fuji X-T4, which was new in 2018 or 2019. So 33 megapixels, Bion's XR, which is the same processor, I believe, that's in the A7S Mark III, 10-bit 422 HLG, all I XAVCS. That's kind of cool, because you're gonna have some really, really badass bit rates in this thing, right? S-CINETONE, that's one a lot of people have asked me about the S-CINETONE that's in the A7S Mark III and the new FX3 as well, and obviously some of their FX cameras. But the S-CINETONE is a nice little feature. Yeah, S-Log3. I don't really know what this means. I think I do know what it means, sort of. It says because it's the dial. If you look at the A7S Mark III, let me. Not that one. P&H. Sony A7 III. If you look at the A7 III from the top down, let me get a top down look. Right, here's the A7 III from the top down. There's another little dial kind of like on top here. This could have something to do with it. It is kind of recessed on the other camera. I don't know. Maybe just the dial lineup. There is a blurred image that you can barely even make out that it's a camera. So I'm not really going to put it up here because you can barely even tell that. So very angle. That's one of the things that I've been looking forward to on the A7 lineup of cameras. A very angle, fully articulating screen on the A7 III, like that. Gimbal. This kind of makes me think that maybe there's some kind of new, and that could be something to do with rumored price of $2,500. The stabilization may be next level in this camera. So that is kind of interesting to me that the stabilization, it says gimbal, 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, USB, 10 gigabit USB live streaming. There's a rumor that it was going to be able to live stream in 4K. That probably has something to do with their software. But again, I know for a fact on YouTube, for one, I think you've got to be at a certain level. Like I have 153 subscribers on this channel. I don't think I'm going to be allowed to stream in 4K ever. I stream in 1080p now. Granted, that has to do with the Blackmagic Pocket or Blackmagic ATEM Mini that I use. That only will stream in 1080p, which is fine. But with this camera, you'll be able to just connect it directly to your computer through USB Type-C. Potentially even be able to charge the camera through USB Type-C while you're live streaming. That'd be kind of cool. Creative look, I don't really know what that means. It's probably, Sony's typical cameras have, the creative kind of like filters, I guess you'd call them. And 15 stops of dynamic range, 15 plus stops of dynamic range. That is going to have to do with shooting 10-bit video. That's going to be one of the great things about the 10-bit video in this camera. That the previous Sony cameras, at least the A7 III and previous to A7S Mark III, only had 8-bit video. So when you shot in their log format, and I've tried it before with I've never tried it with a full frame camera. I have the A7C right there. I don't even use it. Well, I do use it, but not so much for this channel because I really like this Panasonic and the way it's set up, and I got the XLR adapter and all that stuff. But the previous, if you use the log footage, every time I tried to use it on the APS-C cameras, if there was any shadow in the image at all, it was it was unusable footage. And that could have been APS-C sensor. Maybe the full frame sensor is a little bit better, but also not having 10-bit video to be able to bring out the color and be able to edit it a little bit more data to work with, will be a huge deal. I think the image that comes out of the A7S Mark III, I've heard that too. So I've heard that the 4K 60 is cropped to Super 35 mode. It said that is at it's going to be downsampled from 4.8K, that particular mode. So I'm wondering if maybe there will be another setting where you can get the full frame 4K 60 just you know, that's it. You get 4K, 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 rather than any kind of, because the 4K 30 is supposed to be downsampled from 7K. So if the 4K 60 is downsampled, maybe it's just one setting that's like that. Maybe there's another setting that is 4K 60 full sensor readout would be pretty badass. But you know, we'll see. But again, anyways, if you're a YouTuber on today, you've got to have this little patch called vidIQ. You should do it anyway, even if it isn't to, you know, spy on Sony like I did today. Or I didn't actually do this myself. I found this on Sony Alpha Rumors, and I knew exactly how they did it because I already had this. But if you're a YouTuber, if you make YouTube videos, you know, if you have somebody that's, you know, making kind of like similar videos, you can kind of cheat off of them using this. It's not cheating; it's readily available, and then it can also kind of give you, you know, some stats on this. You can use this to your advantage. There's a little checklist here when you're actually uploading videos. When you actually go to your upload screen, you can go to this right here, and it'll tell you, like, you know, what you got to do, and it'll give you little like red X's saying, hey, you haven't done enough. A channel like Sony's YouTube channel, they don't really need to, you know, get to, they have 258,000 subscribers, which is kind of weird. I figured it would have been well over 1 million, but whatever. They don't really need to go by this, but if you're just starting out, it's probably not a bad idea to you know, make sure you've got all these little green check marks lined up. And I think it'll help. It'll tell you how like the video is kind of doing. You know, it'll give you a lot of good information. So, anyways, this is going to be 10 o'clock Eastern time in 2 days on the 21st of October. Today is the 18th. 2 days doesn't seem right. Well, it's like 2.5 days. The 21st of October at 10 o'clock Eastern time. The Sony A7 IV should be released, should be announced, and we have actual confirmation now. I mean, I don't think Sony would lie so much. I mean, right here it says Sony A7 IV. So we have confirmation, folks. We have confirmation. We're getting an A7 IV this coming week. It's getting exciting. This is a camera that I've wanted for probably pretty much since the minute the A7 III came out, and I was like, no flip out screen. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Daryl. If they come out with S-CINETONE, because that is a feature that I think here's another theory on that. Again, with the CF Express Type A cards, a lot of people that bought the A7S Mark III and probably use that as their primary camera are going to look to wanting to buy this, and they're going to need S-CINETONE on here because a lot of people are going to use S-CINETONE on their A7S Mark III. Then you pull out your backup camera, and now you've got to do a bunch of color grading to fix it. Would make sense, right? To have S-CINETONE on there. So if you do have to go pull out your backup camera or have a second angler or whatever, or second cameraman or whatever it is that you're doing in your video, you're going to want the exact same image, right? So having S-CINETONE makes sense. Same with the CF Express Type A cards. Like, you know, if I'm a videographer and I'm using an A7S Mark III or an FX3, and I went and bought 6 or 8 CF Express cards. Now they're interchangeable, and I've got CF Express for my A7 IV as well. Granted, obviously those are a lot more expensive, and you can still go buy UHS 2 cards for significantly less price than. Well, I think that there's going to be a crop in 4K 60, which some people probably aren't going to give two shits about that because most people film 24, 30, or anyway, most people don't use 60 unless you're doing like some sort of sports video or, you know, news channel or something like that. Recording limits? No. So here it says all I. Maybe a 30-minute recording limit in all I. just because that's going to be a pretty thick bit rate right there. Maybe not. I don't think there would be recording limits in anything else, to be honest with you. I really don't. Perhaps 422 10-bit and 4K 60. But again, if it's going to use a Super 35, then I don't think it would need a recording limit. I think Sony has pretty much got their heat dissipation down. Rumors are that it's going to have the same type of cooling system the A7S Mark III does. That doesn't really, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware, that doesn't have any recording limits on that camera. So, and then go with the price. I mean, the rumored price is $2,500. So, I mean, yeah, IPB, which is fine. The $2,500 price tag kind of tells me that maybe, there's not going to be any kind of limitations other than that 4K 60 crop. And again, that may just be at the 4.8K downsample. It might be 4K to 4K, or maybe even, I don't know, something else. I don't know, 6K down to 6K. Maybe I don't know. Could be anything. There could be still a full frame readout of some sort. Maybe it's an 8-bit video at 4K 60 if that's what you want to use. Like what I do right here, I wouldn't mind shooting 4K 60 and 8-bit for what I do. If I go out and shoot other videos, say I'm doing a wedding or something down the road, of course I want my 10-bit video, and I won't shoot in 4K 60 anyway. But I do like a kind of a talking head news type thing. So for what I do, I would shoot 4K 60 if I had the capability. But yeah. Anyways, folks, that is it for today's video. Sony A7 Mark IV, just 2.5 days away. It's exciting. I can't wait. This is a camera that I've got money set aside right now. Here's the thing. With the global chip shortage that's happening right now, if this is a camera that you're interested in, I would really recommend pre-ordering, because here's what's going to probably happen with this camera. You're probably going to be able to get it at launch. From what I understand, it's going to be December will be the release date, like the official, not release date, but the availability date, sometime in December, early December. When Sony came out with the A7 III back in 2018, like most people couldn't get that camera for quite a while unless you like pre-ordered it, because there was such a massive like run at that camera. It was by far the best-selling camera of 2018. Obviously, for obvious reasons, it was a really awesome camera. For its time, it was the best autofocus system in the business, in the full frame mirrorless world. And dual card slots, and there's so much amazingness about that camera, and access to tons and tons of lenses. Having a camera that's sub $2,000 that was ahead of its time, really, for 2018. I mean, not really, but kind of, sort of. Comparatively to any other full frame camera on the market at the time, other than the A7R III, which I believe was out before the A7 III. Pretty sure. It was hard to get. And here's the thing, when this camera comes out and it's hard to get, it's going to become impossible to get very quickly after that, because of the world global chip shortage. So if you really want this camera, my suggestion would be, if this thing comes out and it goes out for pre-order on Friday, if you wait till Saturday, you probably won't get it until probably sometime in the middle of 2022, maybe even 2023. If you don't have it pre-ordered by Friday, and that's unfortunate. Unless Sony has just been hoarding things right now, because I've said this in a previous video, and this video might get a little long. I've said this in a previous video. I think Sony, you look at like the three major tech companies in the world: Apple, Samsung, and Sony. If you go to the store right now and you want to go buy the latest Samsung phone, they're there. You want to go to the store and buy the newest Apple products, they're there. Go to the store and buy a PS5. It's been a year, folks. Next month, the PS5 has been out for a whole year. And yep, you're right. It was. The 6300 was a big seller back in 2016. 6500 was a big seller. You could get it, but it was a big seller. Sony seems to have had a hard time, and I've heard rumors too that Sony's been pretty much kind of hoarding these chips for the holiday season this year. So rumor has it that I've seen rumors that you're going to be able to go to the store in the next couple of months and buy PS5s, probably A7 IVs as well. So maybe, and knowing the major seller of the A7 III was that Sony probably was planning on putting out this A7 IV by a year ago. But with all the COVID issues and things of that nature, they probably were like, let's hold off. And then the global chip shortage happens, and Sony's like, well, we better get ready for this because more and more people are buying cameras for home use, for studio use, for working from home and things like that. More and more people are getting on YouTube nowadays every day. So, and making YouTube videos. More people are on YouTube. I can assure you, more people are on YouTube today than there was back in 2018 when the Sony A7 IV came out. And this camera is going to be a bigger content creator camera than any camera that's ever probably previously come out. So be kind of expecting that. I'll tell you right now, I've got money set aside for this camera. I will have it pre-ordered from my local camera company, which seems to get things pretty fast. I got this camera from my local camera company pretty much the day that it came out. Like the first day that it was available, I did pre-order it. So I'm going to pre-order through them because I think B&H Photo and Adorama obviously will have the biggest stock over probably every other camera company in the country because they're, a nationwide camera company here in the United States. But I think the majority of the people in the United States are probably going to order from those companies, Adorama or B&H. Most of these camera YouTubers are all sponsored or they work directly with B&H or Adorama. So I expect that it's going to be hard to get from those companies. A lot easier to get from a smaller camera company. So if you've got one, yes, you're damn right, it's going to be a war. So anyways, that's about it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this little talk about the A7 IV. It was good to see some people in the comments. Pretty excited about the future. I'm pretty excited about getting this camera. Yeah, I am. So I hope you all have a great day. Guessing it's going to be a while before I can do that. Yeah, you're probably right. That's something you might want to look with your local camera company as well if you've got one in your town or close by, because B&H Photo, you're going to probably have to ship your camera first, and then you may not see your A7 IV. You may be flat out without a camera for 2 or 3 months. So I hope I give the best of luck to you on that. I'm not actually trading anything in. I'm going to keep everything I got. But I am definitely going to get, another thing that might come up is lenses because, Sony makes a lot of, actually, even third-party camera companies make a lot of really great lenses that may also come up short on chip shortages too. Tamron makes some beautiful lenses that would be really nice to pair with the A7 IV. Sigma makes some beautiful lenses too. Even Sony, like a lot of people are going to probably want to pair this with the 20mm 1.8, which has been out of stock at a lot of places, So might not be a bad idea to, if you got money set aside, to go pick up any kind of lenses you might want. Maybe you said you have an A7 III, so I'm sure you're all set with lenses. I'm sure. I mean, we always want more, but yeah, might not be a bad idea if there's a lens you've been wanting that might be in high demand. I'm going to look into that too. So, well, this video has gone quite a long time, so I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and good luck getting the A7 IV. We're going to need it. And thank y'all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.